But the so the View Askew universe just it's named after Kevin Smith's production company, View Askew Productions, which he co-founded with his buddy Scott Mosier. So Kevin Smith, his dad was his dad was like a postman. So his dad was a postal worker, and when he was fairly young, his dad introduced him to George Carlin, and like his dad would they put on HBO and they would watch George Carlin together, and this was like a fond memory of his. And George Carlin later ended up appearing in several of his movies, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I guess that shaped his comedic, I guess that shaped his like comedy writing or his sense of humor a lot, because as a kid he remembered very fondly, just like he didn't spend a whole lot of time with his dad, but like some of the better memories that he has is just the two of them just sitting there watching George Carlin laughing together. And just like, he just kind of like, comedy brought us together, comedy brings family together, and like, he would throw in this like stuff, and it can get pretty raunchy, but I don't think it gets, well, I mean, I think only every once in a while it gets pretty damn raunchy, but I don't think it gets enough to where you're like, oh, this is disgusting, I'm turning off the channel. Well, maybe I don't know, the chocolate covered pretzel might do that for like certain parents from Mallrats, but I mean, and Kinky movies, Kelly and this stuff. His later movies get worse, but for the most part, earlier on,
Clerks is pretty tame. Clerks is more like implied.
Yeah, he toes the line. They all get the R rating, so I guess like when he pushes for the R rating, he makes sure that he gets the R rating. He's not gonna like just do the bare minimum to get the R rating. He's gonna push it, but it's still like funny. It's not like, oh, this is like just stupid, he's hacking it or anything like that. It's well thought out and it's funny. I like his approach to things.
Yes.
And I think Carlinism had a great impact on that, because George Carlin is very much like that too. Like, it isn't just like, it's philosophical in his approach. It's not like like with George Carlin, it's not like, oh, here's a thing, let me spell it out for you. It's a lot of it is just thinking. A lot of it you have to think about it. He's a thinking man's comic. He's a philosopher. He's not he's a comedian, but he was more of a philosopher, especially in his later years. George Carlin, he's I mean, the other thing is like he was a little bit more bitter towards the end, because it wasn't one of those things where he was working because he was doing what he loved. It wasn't like, I love doing comedy, so I'm going to keep working as long as I can. He was heavily in debt to the IRS for like tax evasion, or like not paying his taxes.
Yeah.
Which I had read his book a while ago, George Carlin too. And he I believe he thought that he paid his taxes, and it was like he like had like a shady Hollywood accountant, basically, which this happens regularly to a lot of people who, to like a lot of people who end up getting famous, or they end up like this happens to a lot of athletes and things like that, and they'll get like some like some like shady accountant, which like maybe the studio will recommend or something, like, and oh, I don't really know too much about my taxes, what I do with my taxes. All right, here we recommend this guy does that. And like, the whole time you think that this guy is doing your taxes and he's doing your accounting and everything. And, you call him up maybe once a year or whatever, and you're like, hey, hey, so-and-so, like, what's going on? Are my taxes okay? Is everything all right? Yeah, sure. Don't worry about it. And, we paid him. We paid everything. We're good. You don't owe any money. You're fine. Meanwhile, the guy's putting it in his own pocket the entire time. And 30 years later, the IRS knocks on your door and says, hey, where's our money? And then you're like, no, I paid you. And they're like, no, you didn't. And there's no paper trail to the accountant, because the guy knows what he's doing. And it's just like, oh, crap. Like, now what do I do? So George Carlin was heavily in debt to the IRS, and his later, his later years, and he had to like just work until he died, basically, because the IRS will put all these penalties and all these things just to make sure that you never get ahead and you never get out.
Yeah.
So, the IRS is...
assholes.
Yeah,
the IRS sucks. I'm not afraid to say it.
No, they do suck. It's, the IRS is the gift that keeps on taking.
Yeah.
So
they're not even a gift. They're a fucking curse.
They're Uncle Sam's gift. But that's we don't necessarily like the IRS on that show, but we pay our taxes like normal people, unless TurboTax or
TurboTax is a shady account.
Yeah, or Credit Karma, and so, like, but then you got a big class action lawsuit. So I don't think that they actually. I'm pretty sure they're legit.
Yeah.
As opposed to certain people that in this world. I think it's okay if you're going to do these things, and also, hey, why don't we have a taxpayer sponsor? Tax season has been pushed back to May 15th. So if you have not done your taxes, one, don't worry about it for now, but make sure that you do it by April 15th. May 15th. April 15th is a normal day. Yeah, it has. Yeah, all right. Well, under normal circumstances, your ass would be grass and the IRS would be the lawnmower. But because we're in a very special predicament, you gotta wait. You have gotten an extra month to do your taxes. So just head on over to TurboTax or Credit Karma or one of those lovely places. Except maybe H&R Block, because
they charge a lot.
They do charge a lot. So try to find some place that's going to charge you very little to nothing, and there are places. Don't let anybody push you around and make excuses. We used to go to H&R Block, and the lady, we thought she was looking out for us. I won't tell her name because she's not a public figure. This lady that was doing our taxes for years was like, oh, here's an extra this, here's an extra that. Oh, look how much money I saved you. And then it was like, and then, 1 year the refund was a lot less, and we had to pay out a lot more. And it was like, wait, what happened? Oh, you have to blame President Trump for this because he did this extra stuff, and now we have to add these things, and now it's, it's like $40 for every like form you have or whatever. Mm-hmm. So sorry, not sorry. There's nothing I can do, and then the next year I went to TurboTax and I was like, what the hell? This lady like ripped me off by like $400 that I will never see.
Yeah.
Like what the F? I'm never doing this again. So not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool at all. So if you can find a company that will do it for very little to nothing, go right ahead. TurboTax or Credit Karma are very good. I liked TurboTax. Credit Karma I used this year because Credit Karma is it's actually a free filing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the first year that you do it.
I think TurboTax is free if you're under a certain income.
For the first year.
No, TurboTax is free if you're all the time, if you're under like a certain income level or something.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It's possible.
Credit Karma was just free too. It was like it wasn't an income thing. It just is.
Because technically, it's free to file your tax. You could just go to the IRS website and file.
No, it is. You can do it. You can
your taxes, but you have to know what the hell you're doing. That's the problem.
Right. Right. I mean, these like softwares like TurboTax and Credit Karma.
Just make it easier.
Yeah.
It's like just plug in how much money you made and are you taking any deductions, and that's pretty much it.
Yes, TurboTax and Credit Karma. Taxes made easy. I'm pretty sure that's a slogan for one of them.
Probably.
Anyway, back to George Carlin. So he was doing all the so he owed the IRS a lot of money because of a shady accountant or something like that. He didn't pay his taxes, and he had to work until he died. So as he got older into later HBO specials, he stops being comedic and is just more of just like him venting, which a lot of it is still good. because it's still he still tells it, he still like breaks it down and like, you know, just kind of exposes it, because that was always his thing.
Yeah.
But it's much much darker, and it's much more like there's more contempt behind it. Like, he's not doing it to get a laugh. He's doing it because he's like, I'm just gonna talk. It's more spoken word than comedy.
Yeah, but people, you know, laugh at it because, you know, the way he's, you know, he's very animated and stuff. And
right. I mean, he's one of my favorites, George Carlin.
But he's just like raging about like the government and like corporations and, you know, which he always did. If you look at
he always did.
You can watch like the old SNL. Like he hosted the first SNL ever.
Yeah.
And basically his whole opening monologue was about like how like the government sucks and they're going to screw you over and stuff. So
I mean, that's true.
He always had that kind of like, you know, distrust of the government and corporations, and, you know, it's a big club and you ain't in it, that kind of thing.
But he was right.
Yeah,
every single thing that he said and predicted came true eventually. Like, he predicted political correctness, like, decades before it happened, and he, like, he caught on to it, and he, like, saw it happening, and he died before it started to really take hold, but he died as it was taking shape, and he was calling it out as it was happening.
Yeah.
Like, the last stuff that he was calling out was when they started doing the participation trophies. Like, he has, like, in one of his last specials, I think it was Life's Worth Losing was the special, and he was like, so everybody gets to participate, so the kids get participation trophies, and they don't learn anything because now they're just taught that everyone is special, and they're like, well, when you become an adult, you stop. Like, at what point do you go from being special to just get the fuck out, you know? Where he's like, well, Timmy grew up every day thinking that he was special, and he got a participation trophy for me, and like, he was rewarded for his mediocrity and all this other stuff. And then one day, Jimmy graduated college, where he was also told he was special and he was going to change the world and be me, and like, he was okay just being him because he was special and he didn't have to do anything extra or anything like that. And then one day, Jimmy gets a job, and his boss is an asshole, and nobody gives a shit about how special he was. And like, one day, Jimmy gets fired, and his boss goes, "Jimmy, get the fuck out. You're a loser."
Mm-hmm.
And it was great, but it's true. It's true. Like, there's a lot of mediocrity that's just rewarded now, and I think it's just stupid. But George Carlin predicted absolutely everything that happened as it was happening. He indicated all of the corruption that was going on in the world, and he just called it out. And it was brilliant the way that he did it. And like, it was more like, it was like, watching George Carlin is like going to church, essentially. Like, you're not getting just comedy, you're not just laughing, you're getting a sermon.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful one. I mean, he also has a special that never happened. I saw this on Joe Rogan, and then we can actually like get back to Kevin Smith and the Viewist Universe, which we haven't totally started yet. I mean, we tend to do this, but you know, this is this is a podcast. It's unscripted. It's got warts and all. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, sorry. What can I tell you? Go to.
Why are you listening?
Yeah. Or if you don't like it, just let us. Or if you don't like it, email us at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com, or comment on our YouTube channel, and just simple as that. Tell us how we're doing.
If you don't like the show, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube.
Or dislike. I don't care. It helps.
No, don't dislike. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's how you. And tell us how much you don't like us.
Yeah. Thumbs up. These guys suck. That would be beautiful. Yeah. Just keep doing that. So the last tidbit that I have to say about George Carlin is he did have a special. I saw this on Joe Rogan, but he had a special that was never released. I don't know if somebody has it somewhere stashed away. He had like an HBO special or something like that he never released. And I don't know if they've burned it or destroyed it, or if it's just in a vault somewhere. But the name of the special was "I Kind of Like It When People Die."
Okay.
That's not. Well, that's not what. That's not the. That has nothing to do with why. The reason why it never aired is because it was supposed to air on September 11th, 2001. And we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001.
Right.
The Twin Towers were hit by... Well, the two planes crashed into the Twin Towers and destroyed them.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to get into detail on that. If you can find it, like, you can find an episode of The Bonesaw, my old podcast, where I talk to Henry from Witch Haven, and we talk about 9/11. So if you want to try to find that would be really great, and I would appreciate that, so you can learn a little bit about my experience that day and his experience. Two people on opposite sides of the United States and how they're reacting to it. Witch Haven actually has a song. I think it's Terror Storm. It's about 9/11 actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so George Carlin has that particular special. So they pulled it and they were like, "No, we can't air this. Do you see what happened?" He was like, "All right, fine. Like, then I guess it's just not going to be there." So they have yet to release it. They've never released it. I don't know if it still even exists anymore.
I'm sure it's somewhere. It's probably in like some vault somewhere.
I would think so, but who the hell knows?